no audio issues. So, all right. Well, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. If you have, like I said, if you have any questions, you can put those down in the bottom right-hand corner, and we'll try and get those answered throughout the presentation while I'm talking. And then I'll also open it up at the end for any questions that came through just kind of at the end of the presentation. And then I'll review some of those that were asked throughout. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We'd like to take the opportunity to introduce you to Brekke Tours and how we can help you plan the perfect vacation to Scandinavia next year. So this webinar is really geared for those that maybe don't know a lot about Brekke Tours, don't know who we are or what we do. So if you know us and you've traveled with us before, then this probably will just be some repeat information. But for those of you that maybe just found us on the internet or you've seen one of our ads and want to know a little bit more about us, then welcome. And hopefully you will know some answers to your questions at the end of this presentation. All right, my name is Amanda Hancock, and on behalf of Brekke Tours, we look forward to introducing you to our own favorite corner of the world, Scandinavia. For those of you wondering about our connection to Scandinavia, Brekke Tours was founded in 1956 when Arne Brekke, a student from Norway, worked his way through graduate school in America by conducting summer tours in Europe. We are a family-owned company located in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and we offer a wide variety of products and services such as our own escorted tours, independent travel packages, customized tours for individuals, families, and groups, heritage travel, and cruises. Our goal at Brekke Tours is simply to strengthen the cultural and ethnic ties between North America and Scandinavia by creating meaningful travel experiences. So why visit Scandinavia? There are many reasons, but I've summed up a few here. First is the natural beauty and phenomena. Glaciers, fjords, mountains, forests, the midnight sun, northern lights can all be found in Scandinavia. Scandinavia also has a truly rich history filled with Vikings, kings and queens, wars, great wealth and hardship, and so much more. And the culture of Scandinavian countries are uniquely distinct, yet at the same time, they're quite similar. They value nature, family, education, and hard work, and those are all valued by the folks living in Scandinavia. Most Scandinavians speak very good English, making it an easy place to get around on your own. And speaking of which, the public transportation in Scandinavia is very good. With buses, trains, and low-cost flights to choose from, it's easy to get from point A to point B. And of course, the food. You have fresh seafood, freshly baked bread, fresh fruit are all commonly found in Scandinavia. And finally, Scandinavia is a relatively safe destination. In fact, you may see babies sleeping in their strollers outside of shops and restaurants. So why should you travel with Brekke Tours? First and foremost, we are a full-service Scandinavian specialist with over 65 years of experience in travel within Scandinavia. We travel to our destinations and on our tours so that we can assist our clients with their vacations. Our escorted tours feature destinations you won't find on other tours, and you won't find our tours anywhere else. Both escorted tours and independent travel packages can be customized with side trips to visit areas of heritage. You can add pre or post tour extensions, or if we can't make that work, we can create a completely customized travel itinerary just for you. While on our escorted tours, you won't have to worry about additional expenses for tours or sightseeing activities. What you see in the itinerary is what is included. And if you want to add a cruise or combine your trip with another country while overseas, that's not a problem. Our staff can help you with those arrangements so that you only have one contact person for your entire vacation. And finally, when you travel with Brekke Tours, you can be sure that you'll be treated as a valued client, not just another body in the seat. Our goal is to make your travel experience meaningful, which means providing you with excellent customer service from the first phone call until you return home from your trip. So, when it comes to start planning your trip, one of the first considerations is if you should travel with a group or independently. Both provide different experiences, so we've noted some benefits to each that you may want to take in account when you're making your decision. Probably the number one reason to join an escorted tour is that it's a worry free vacation. You can just sit back and relax, and someone else will do the driving and the luggage handling. Our escorted tours include transportation, first class hotels, most meals, and an array of activities and experiences. You'll also have a knowledgeable and professional guide along to enhance and enrich your vacation by providing cultural information about the country and the sites you're visiting, as well as handling all those little details. An escorted tour is perfect for the seasoned traveler as well as those traveling outside the US for the first time. You'll also take advantage of group discounts, thus getting more for your travel budget. Now, on the other hand, traveling independently allows you the freedom to travel at your own pace and choose the experiences you want to include. Independent travel is suitable for those who are comfortable traveling alone, may have limited time, or wish to stay in one place and explore the surrounding areas. Public transportation is readily available. However, if you need flexibility or wish to visit the countryside, renting a car is an excellent option, and driving around in Scandinavia is pretty easy. Although an independent package may appear to be less expensive, please note that costs can quickly mount when adding food, transfers, and activity. So, for those of you interested in traveling on an escorted tour, I'd like to give you some more information and cover some of those highlights so you can expect when traveling with Brekke Tours. Now, if you're interested more in traveling independently, not to worry, I'll cover this option shortly. So, on our escorted tours, no matter which one you decide to join, there are some key points that are included in each tour. The first of which, you are getting a good value for your travel budget. Scandinavia can be expensive, but by taking advantage of group discounts, many clients feel that they receive more than what they paid for. Most of our tours do involve a bit of walking each day. With that being said, if you do have mobility issues, please call our office and talk to one of our agents. We can help ease your concerns and make recommendations based on your activity level. Now, we do allow free time in larger cities such as Oslo, Bergen, Trondheim, Stavanger, Stockholm, and Copenhagen. Our tours typically start around 8 or 9 a.m., and we try to have you in the hotel no later than 6 or 7. We also offer luggage handling at most hotels, and our tour director will meet you at the arriving airport and stay with you until you depart the tour. You'll also notice that most of your meals are included in the itinerary. We also try to include some special meals such as a dinner at a farm or a unique location. For your comfort, all of our tours are on first class touring coaches. They have large windows, reclining seats, footrests, and even bathrooms on board, so you can sit back and relax while our wonderful bus drivers chauffeur you around in style. And of course, all of our tours can be customized with pre or post tour extensions to Scandinavia and beyond. And then one of the things that all of our tours include is visits to Bergen and Oslo, as well as a train ride on the Flom Railway. And you'll also get to see a stave church, which is one of the iconic symbols of Norway. So, who will I be traveling with? While on our escorted tours, you'll meet a variety of people, but in general, these folks are from the US, some are from Canada. They'll have ethnic ties to Scandinavia, and they enjoy learning new things and seek out new experiences. On tour, you'll meet people that have traveled to other destinations around the world, as well as those that are experiencing their first trip overseas. Some of the other interests commonly found among our tour participants include history, embroidery, folk music, dancing and singing, hiking, and other outdoor activities. Our tour director will meet you at the arriving airport within Scandinavia, and they will stay with you until you depart at the end of the tour. Our tour directors are usually from the US, and they're also from Scandinavia as well. So we do have some that are in Norway. English is the only language on our tour. However, we do try to throw in some local language for those that are wanting to learn some new words and phrases. We also have local guides that will join you for just short periods of time. They are there to provide detailed knowledge about a city, a museum, or a historical site. And if you're unsure where you will be staying while on tour, it's not to worry. All the hotels included on our tours are first class or superior class hotels. These hotels are found in the heart of major cities, within walking distance to main attractions, and that way you can get to places easily during your free time. Now, in the countryside, we tend to use hotels along the fjords or situated in the mountains, which are ideal for hiking or relaxing in. Many of the hotels we frequent are historic properties with interesting history, whether they served as a German headquarters during World War II or were transitioned from a warehouse into a beautiful waterside property. All of the hotels will have private bathrooms with a shower or a tub. You'll also enjoy a Scandinavian breakfast buffet every morning, and some hotels will offer amenities such as swimming pools or guest laundry facilities, which is a nice opportunity to freshen up your clothes while traveling. Now, while on our escorted tour, you'll primarily get around by a first class tour motor coach. When traveling on the larger buses or the smaller ones, you'll travel in comfort. They have large windows, reclining seats with footrests, and personal comfort controls for the AC. So you can sit back unless your professional driver gets you from point A to point B. We also enjoy train rides through magnificent scenery and cruises along the fjords and waters of Scandinavia. Just to give you a general idea of what to expect during a typical day while on tour, here's a short summary. You'll start with the breakfast buffet at the hotel, and then the group will typically depart between 8:30 and 9, depending on what is scheduled for the day. We do include several stops throughout the day for food, bathroom breaks, and activities. On board the bus, the tour director will keep the group entertained with information, songs, language lessons, and more. And then sometimes there's a little time in there for a nap. And then the group will arrive at the hotel in the evening, and usually there is time for a walk, relaxation, or even a swim before dinner. Before the group goes their separate ways in the evening, the tour director will advise of the departure time for the next day. So now that you know a little bit more about our tours and what to expect, we'd like to offer some help when it comes time to deciding which tour is right for you and your family. So we want to give you some things to think about before you make your decision. First off would be the travel dates as well as the length of the tour, what destinations you wish to visit, areas of interest, and of course what you will do and experience while on tour. In 2023, we're pleased to offer 13 different tour departures during June, July, and August. Our shortest tour is Splendor of Norway at 9 days, and our longest is Scenic and Historic at 14 days. Most of our tours are around 11 or 12 days. If you're wanting to visit a particular location, then this slide might be of assistance. In 2023, we have two multi-country tours, including Taste of Norway and Sweden and Captivating Scandinavia, which visits Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Other areas that we often get asked about are Trondheim. So we have two tours that visit Trondheim. Stavanger also have two tours to visit that area. And then southern Norway, including Telemark, Lofthus, and Hardanger. And then finally Lillehammer or Oya. Now, to give you some ideas of ideal tours based on interests, I've listed a few, and this is by no means a complete list. I would definitely recommend talking to one of our agents if you have a specific interest or you would like to know what's included on a tour. For the first time traveler, so this is your first trip to Norway, you've never been before, we recommend Best of Norway, Spectacular Norway. Both of these tours are 11 days. Or if you're short on time, Splendor of Norway is a good option. All of these are great introductory tours and they cover a variety of highlights. If you're looking for something a little bit more thrilling, you may want to look at Adventure in the Fjords, where you can hike, bike, and paddle through Norway. And if you have Norwegian roots in the Sogn, Voss, or Valdres regions of Norway, our heritage tour is a great way to reconnect with your heritage or an opportunity to introduce the next generation to Norway. And if you want to see it all, then Captivating Scandinavia, Taste of Norway and Sweden, or our Norway Scenic and Historic Tour might work for you. Now, as you can see from this list, each of our tours offers unique activities and experiences for our clients. So if you're looking for something a little special, such as a farm visit or a dinner, then perhaps our Best of Norway, Adventure in the Fjords, or Scenic and Historic tours might be of interest. Or if you've dreamed of visiting the Denmark's fairy tale castles, then Captivating Scandinavia is what I would recommend. If you can't find exactly what you're looking for on our escorted tours, we're happy to suggest an independent pre or post tour extension to make your vacation truly unforgettable. Now, if you want to spend a little bit more time in Scandinavia, simply ask us to add an independent pre or post tour extension. We have several extension packages that are already built and available, or we can work with you to create a customized package to any of the Scandinavian countries, Faroe Islands, and beyond. Now, for those of you that are wanting to explore Scandinavia at your own pace, we offer a variety of independent travel options, including the tour extensions, which we kind of talked about. We have fjord tours, self drive tours, adventure tours, and winter packages. Our independent travel options can be found online, or if you prefer to have a customized itinerary created just for you, please just contact our office. So, if you do plan to travel independently, one of the factors that we really try to talk about first when we're talking to our clients is how you're going to get from point A to point B. Traveling on your own means that you have to deal with the unexpected as well. So it's just something to take into consideration when you're planning. So if it's something that you wish to avoid, you may want to choose an alternative travel option. Sticking with your budget is also another factor when planning your independent vacation. Costs can quickly balloon out of control if you aren't careful. Now, planning a large itinerary can be difficult, especially if you're unfamiliar with the locations and different options. It's here that we can step in to help. So we can take the headache out of planning with our pre-planned independent travel packages, such as our popular Norway in the Nutshell, which can be done as a 3 or 6 day package. And you can also customize this package to include additional nights along the way. Our Nordic Delight package includes visits to the Scandinavian capitals of Oslo, Copenhagen, and Stockholm. You can also add an extension to Helsinki, Iceland, or Norway's fjord country. Now, Iceland has become a frequently requested destination in the past few years. One of the best ways to see this unique country is to rent a car and drive the ring road, which circles the island. And this can be done in as little as 9 days. Now, if you want to see some northern lights, you can travel to Tromsø. It's a fun, great way to spend some time up in the northern parts of Norway, and the best chances to see those northern lights. And if you're looking for a winter adventure that's a little bit more escorted, then Iceland's Land of Northern Lights. It's a short getaway to southern Iceland, which is also an ideal place to catch those lights. The nice thing about these packages is that the planning has already been done and these itineraries are tried and true. So, if you're looking for a trip that's created with just you in mind, we do offer customized tours for individuals, couples, families, and groups. We can include all the arrangements needed, including hotels, activities, transportation, and if requested, drivers and guides. Your tailor made tour is based on your interests, areas of heritage, budget, and more. All it takes to get started is just to call or email our office, and one of our staff will be happy to assist you. Some of the groups that we've worked with in the past include church groups, museums, the U.S. Lighthouse Association, choirs and bands in both the U.S. and Norway, dancers, World War II themed tours, architecture, quilting, art and music, agricultural tours, and more. So, just a wide variety of interests. And so, we are happy to help you with whatever you might want to see and do. Now, another independent option would be cruising, of course. Hurtigrutens Norwegian coastal voyage is a very easy way to explore the northern reaches of Norway. You can sail from Bergen to Kirkenes in 7 days, or southbound from Kirkenes to Bergen in 6. And you can also combine a cruise with a land package, such as traveling by train from Oslo to Bergen and then taking the cruise up to Trondheim so you can experience the Geiranger Fjord and the Nidaros Cathedral. Hurtigruten also is offering a new cruises starting in 2023 that sail from Oslo around the southern part of Norway all the way up the coast to Kirkenes. So if that's something that you would be interested in, please just give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you about that. They also offer a variety of cruises to other destinations such as Spitsbergen, Iceland, Greenland, Europe, Antarctica, and more. So we're going to open it up to questions in just a minute, but first I want to go over some of the ones that were submitted on the registration form. So we got lots of questions that way, so I kind of want to address some of those. Hopefully some of those I've already answered in the course of the presentation, but first, what should I pack? And that's probably our number one question. We always recommend bringing clothing that you can layer. Casual clothing is the norm for our escorted tours, and you'll want to bring good walking shoes. You'll also want to bring a jacket and perhaps a raincoat. Other things you may want to pack include umbrella or poncho, snacks, medications, including over-the-counter medicine like aspirin, sunscreen, and a small day pack where you can store sweaters, a water bottle, and your snacks. So if you are out and about on your own in the morning, it can be a little bit cooler. So that's when you would maybe want to bring your jacket or a sweater. And then if you're out hiking or walking around, it might get a little warm. So you can take that off and stick it in your backpack and you can go on your way. If you are spending any time on the water, such as on a ferry or a fjord cruise, or if you're taking the coastal voyage along the coast, it's always cooler on the water, so you'll definitely want to bring a jacket for that. And of course, Norway gets lots of rain, so it's nice to have things that are waterproof or at least water resistant. Another question that we get asked a lot, and we did get asked this on the registration form, is when is the best time to go to Scandinavia? And this is really a tough question to answer because really it's just a personal preference. If you like to travel during the warmer months, June through August would be appropriate. You can expect temperatures in the 60s and 70s in the lower regions of Scandinavia and in the 50s and 60s in the upper regions. So obviously the further north you go, the cooler it's going to be. If you like to avoid crowds, then you may wish to travel in May or September, as the weather is still nice, but there are fewer visitors. And if seeing the northern lights is on your bucket list, you'll want to travel between November and March. Those are the best times to see that, although we've had people see the northern lights in September, but that's pretty rare. You'll also want to plan your trip north of the Arctic Circle for the best chance to view the northern lights. How much walking is required on our escorted tours? Now, a typical day on an escorted tour, you'll have 2 to 3 hours of walking, but it's broken up over the day. At some stops, you may only have a 5-minute walk, whereas others it may be 10 to 15. For those with mobility issues, you always have the choice whether or not to take part. One thing we do like to point out to our clients is that a lot of times um, there are stairs that you will need to take to get to your hotel room or get to a restroom. Sometimes there's no elevators in some of the places that we visit, especially if they're older. So it's just something to be aware of, that you'll want to be able to climb, a few steps of stairs. And so just something to be aware of. If you do have questions about it, I would definitely recommend contacting our office and talking to us about it because we can we can let you know whether or not it would be appropriate. The number of people on a tour. Typically, we can expect around 30 or more on our popular tours, such as Best of Norway, and about 20 to 25 on some of our more out of the way tours, such as our Scenic and Historic or Captivating Scandinavia. We do only operate one bus though, so at the most you would travel would be about 40 people on board. Um, there are more seats on the bus than that, but we don't like to fill it all the way. We want to give everybody a little bit of room. Will we have free time while on tour? All of our tours do include a bit of free time so that you have the opportunity to pursue your own interests while in Scandinavia. Many people take this time to explore art museums, go shopping, or visit with friends or relatives in the area. If you need additional time for a particular visit, we can make those arrangements with you prior to departing the US. So, if we're visiting Vos, for instance, and you have somebody that you want to go visit that lives nearby, if we can make those arrangements ahead of time to either get you a rental car or um, we drop you off somewhere and your relatives bring you back, that kind of thing, we are happy to do that for you. That's not a problem. It's just something that we want to do ahead of time. And then, can I add extra days to an escorted tour? Of course. If you'd like to spend a little bit more time, we are more than happy to help you with that. Or if you would just like to take a day out to go visit relatives or family heritage sites, we're happy to help you with that as well. We can do an extra hotel night, we can book an extended stay, or we can just figure out how to get you, out to visit your family and then back again. So whatever the case may be, we are happy to try and make that work for you. All right, we have a few more questions. And then are flights from other cities available? So all of our escorted tours include flights from the Minneapolis, St. Paul area. But if you're traveling from the East Coast or the West Coast or something like that, we are happy to give you a quote for flights out of your home city, and then you could just take the land only option for our tour. That is not a problem. And then we had several people ask about money and if they should exchange money before. So it's kind of a complicated answer. So bear with me. So, with the exception of Finland, who uses the euro, kroner is the currency used within each country, and they are not interchangeable. So, Norway has Norwegian kroner, Iceland has Icelandic kroner, Sweden has its Swedish kroner, and none of them equal each other. So, if you're planning to visit Norway, you can obtain Norwegian kroner at your arrival airport by either exchanging US dollars or simply withdrawing an equivalent amount from the ATM. So, you would just use your ATM card and they would give you kroner. And it would work the same way with any of the other countries. You can check current exchange rates at oanda.com, which I've listed up there. Now, most places in Scandinavia will accept major credit cards such as Visa and MasterCard. In fact, some vendors don't even accept cash anymore. So you'll see a lot of hotels now have gone cashless, and so they won't accept cash and you have to use your credit card. So it's a good idea to have a credit card or two along with you when traveling. Food allergies. So if you're traveling with us on an escorted tour, breakfast at the hotel is included each morning. This will be a buffet style breakfast with a variety of options available. And dinner at the hotels is usually also a buffet. We do ask all of our clients on our tour registration form if there are any food allergies or aversions so that we can offer substitutes when a fixed menu is planned. So for me, for instance, I have a peanut allergy and I really don't like fish. I've never had an issue in any of the Scandinavian countries finding something that I could eat. Most hotels and restaurants are very accommodating, and as long as we just give them a heads up ahead of time so that they can plan, it's not a problem. So we did have some questions about COVID, what restrictions there are, if there's mask restrictions, that sort of thing. Currently, there are no restrictions or vaccine requirements to travel to Scandinavia. However, that's obviously something that we'll continue to monitor for any changes. We do not require a mask on board the bus, but clients are welcome to use them if they so choose. If someone on board does become ill, we would treat this as any other medical issue and would provide assistance as needed. And we've had a few singles ask about how they would be accommodated. So, if you're traveling solo on one of our escorted tours, you have a couple of options. First, you can request a single room, and there is a supplement for this. Or if you're open to sharing a room with another traveler, provided that there is another single traveler of the same gender that also wishes to share a room, we will put you in touch with each other before the tour departs to make sure that you'll both enjoy your trip because we don't want to put two people together that are just going to make each other miserable. That's no fun for anybody. So we do have a couple of options. So, but if you do have questions, please just give us a call. We're happy to talk to you about it. And then we had some people ask about devices and plugs and electricity. So Scandinavia, like most of the world, runs on 220 volt, while the US runs on 110. So if your device is dual voltage, all you'll need is the plug adapter. So on your screen, this is the bottom one. So this just changes the plug. It doesn't convert electricity at all. If your device only runs 110 volt, for you ladies out there, that's probably a lot of curling irons or hair straighteners. They're usually only one, 110 volt. You'll need a converter, which is the bigger box that comes with all the little different um, plug adapters. So the converter will cost about $25 to $35, while the adapter is only about $5. So it's most Apple devices I know are dual voltage, so you would really only need just the adapter. Um, so hopefully that helps. And then let's see, I'm gonna throw this page up here. So this is our contact information. So feel free to call us or email us. And at this point, I'm gonna open it up to the questions. I know the folks in the office have been helping me by answering some of these questions as they've been coming in, but let me go back up to the top and see if there's any that we could talk about here. We do have people asking about optional extensions to the Shetland Islands. That's not a package that we have pre-planned, but that's something that we could totally customize for you. That's not a problem. Same thing for the polar ice cap. We would just work with you to create a tailored extension or an itinerary. Somebody asked why I don't have a Norwegian accent. I'm sorry. I actually don't live in North Dakota. I work out of my home in Oklahoma and I'm from Texas. So I have no Scandinavian heritage whatsoever, which is probably why I don't like fish. I grew up in landlocked Texas. So um, let's see here. We do have Norwegians in our office. So let's see here. Um, okay, for somebody who doesn't like seafood, such as myself, a lot of times in Norway, you will find, just depending on where you are, there are beef options or chicken. Sometimes there's reindeer. So reindeer is very popular up north. So it really just kind of depends on where you're at. But yeah, I've never had any issues finding other options while I've been in Norway or any of the other Scandinavian countries for that matter. Let's see here. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. It doesn't usually work out. uh, oh, somebody had asked if we were offering a family trip, and I know somebody had asked about traveling with children. So on our escorted tours, really they're more geared to older children. 8 would probably be the youngest that we'd want to go. So 8 and up. If you are traveling with children, we are happy to either recommend an independent travel option or there's other tours out there that we can help you find as well. We have done family tours in the past, but in 2023, we did not offer that. So, global entry. I am not 100% aware of the global entry. I know you have to fill out some forms, and I know there is a fee for global entry if you wanted to do that. Um, it, I'm not sure if the process is similar to like a pre-check. That's something that I have not checked on in the past couple of years, and I'm not sure if there's been any updates on it. But Janet, I you had asked about the global entry. I will find that information out, and we can email that information to you if you would be interested in that. Let's see here. So we had somebody asking about Iceland tours. So we do work with a partner that's in Iceland that they do customized, or I'm sorry, escorted group tours. And so if you are looking for a group escorted tour in Iceland, we are happy to make some recommendations. We've worked with both of these suppliers for many years now, and both offer different tours. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. We can make a recommendation. And we can also help you with any customized Iceland tours that you may want to do or independent packages as well. So many of us in the office have been to Iceland several times. So it's one of my favorite places as well. Okay, and we do have some people asking about getting copies of the slides, so that's not a problem. Everybody will receive a link to the recording, but I can send a copy of the slides as well so that you can go back and review some of these other ones that we're talking about, the tours and the different options on each. That is not a problem. Let's see here. Let me okay, we have somebody that asked about maximizing time on the fjords. Ooh, that is a good question. So all of our tours do include a fjord cruise. Now, whether it's in the Geiranger Fjord or the Sogne Fjord, usually we just do one in each. Our let's see here. Our scenic and historic tour actually visits both tours, but you're only going to cruise on one. So if that's something that you would like to do, you would like to cruise on both, we could probably make those arrangements ahead of time. Um, Otherwise, I mean, if you're really wanting to spend some time on the water, adventure in the fjords would be my recommendation because you'll be hiking in the fjords and you've got a full day in Flum where you could do kayaking if you wanted. You'll also do some whitewater rafting. So that would be a great tour to spend a lot of time actually on the water or in the water, I guess. Um, so we had somebody ask about cell phones. So if you do have a cell phone that you'd like to use in Norway or Scandinavia for that matter, if you don't have an international plan, there are lots of apps that you can download to your phone now, like a WhatsApp or Facebook, where you could do video calls basically, and um, and then whenever you have Wi-Fi, so our buses typically have Wi-Fi, and then of course you'll have Wi-Fi at the hotels. You can send messages back home. You can do video calls. That way you can keep in touch with family members back home. But otherwise, I would check with your cell phone provider to see what kind of international plans they may have, because sometimes it's you could do like just for 1 month or something like that. Because sometimes those plans can be somewhat expensive. Um, So we do have somebody asking about doing an independent package and using trains. And so, yes, we can certainly do that. If you plan to travel throughout Scandinavia using trains, that's something that we can customize for you. And um, and yes, the Q&A will be included in the link. So all of this is just basically one video recording. Um, So we did have somebody ask about tipping. So we don't on our escorted tours, we leave the gratuities for the guides and the bus driver at your discretion. So we don't include that in the cost of the tour. Most of the time, our bus drivers and local guides are local to that country. And so they do like to have their gratuities in the local currency. But if that's not possible, then US dollars are fine. And then, depending on our tour directors, we have some that are from the US and then some that are actually from Scandinavia. So it really just kind of depends on who your tour director is. But if all else fails, US dollars, they're fine. They can exchange that after the fact. So not a problem. Let's see. I'm trying to see if we have any other questions that have come in that haven't been answered. So, if anybody has any other questions, please feel free to um, send those in and I'll try to answer those, or one of my colleagues can. We did have some questions, people asking about group travel insurance, and that is something that we do offer through our partner Travelex. And so when you register for one of our escorted tours or even for an independent package, we can send that information to you. There's different options available for people traveling independently. And then for those traveling with a group, whether that be on a customized group tour or on our escorted tours, as long as there's at least 10 people, then you could take advantage of group discounts, which is nice. So we had somebody ask again about tipping. And so for Beth had asked what amounts would be appropriate. So for our tour directors, we recommend like $8 or so a day, and then for our bus drivers, $5 to $8, and then for the local guides, $3 to $5 are appropriate. But really, it's like I said, it's really left up to your discretion. So if you feel they did a really great job, and you would like to give them more, then that's fine. If not, then that is okay as well. Um, let's see. Oh, we had somebody ask about architectural tours comply with AIA standards. I do not believe so. That would be something I would need to check. It's been we have done an architectural tour before, but it has been a couple of years, obviously, because of COVID. But that is something that we can check on. And so I'm going to make myself a note. So, an independent tour, we had somebody ask what an independent tour is, and that would be that we would help you plan the tour ahead of time and we'd make all of the arrangements ahead of time. But you will be traveling on your own, whether that would be by train or by public bus, or you would rent a car and drive yourself. There's no escorted tour, I'm sorry, a tour director with you. There might be, if you're doing some sort of activity such as kayaking, that would be guided for that specific activity, but there's not going to be anybody there with you. Although we do have emergency numbers, so if you do run into any problems, that's when you would call us and say, I need help, and we would try to help you out as much as possible. So, and make myself a note about the AIA compliance. Okay. And then do we have any other questions? We had somebody asking about diving in Norway. So there are several places to dive. I guess it just depends on where you're planning to go. That's something that we can certainly help you arrange ahead of time. Um, so I believe there's some places in and around Flum and Voss. And then, if you're planning to travel up north, we can certainly help you find somebody that can assist you with that. So we had somebody ask about a customized group tour. So a customized group tour, if you would like a bus and a driver, along with the tour director, that is something that we can arrange. If you just need a bus, we can do that too. However, if you have more than 15 people, we recommend having a tour director with you just to make your life easier and to make sure that the group gets where they need to be. So for a solo traveler, it really just kind of depends on the tour, what the single supplement is. Sometimes it's, maybe $600, and sometimes it could be up to 1,000, just depending on the length of the tour and the number of nights. That's really the biggest factor. So the longer tours are, the single supplement is going to be a little bit more. So, do we have a tour that goes between Oslo and Bergen and includes the Sognefjord, Norway in a nutshell? Actually, a lot of our tours do that. Um, and so, let's see. So probably if Karen, if this is your first time to Norway, then maybe Spectacular Norway or Best of Norway would be a good option. They do all of they have visits to Oslo and Bergen, and they'll do the Norway in the nutshell region. So, yeah. And let's see if we have any other questions. And if you do think of something later, because that's usually me, I think of something about 30 minutes after I should. Please feel free to email us. Here, I'll put our email address back up here. Oh, we have somebody ask what Norway in a nutshell is. So Norway in a nutshell is a fjord cruise from Flum to Gudvangen. So you go down. It's basically arms of the Sognefjord, which is the longest, deepest fjord in Norway. And the Narrow Fjord is on the UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a really just a spectacular area of Norway, and called the Narrow Fjord because it means the narrow fjord, and so the mountains just feel like they're right on top of you, and you can just reach out and touch them. And then, in addition to that, you have the Flum Railway, which takes you through a variety of tunnels, and you descend 2,800 feet within 13 miles from Myrdal, which is the mountaintop station, down to the Flum Valley, and which is right at the fjords. Um, so having those two experiences, the fjord cruise and the train, that makes it Norway in the nutshell. And there used to be a really nice drive that was included as well, but they have closed that road, unfortunately. So that is no longer part of that tour. But pretty much, if you travel just a little bit outside of Flum, you can experience the thrill of doing switchback driving up the mountain. So, we did have somebody ask about when prices will be available. We're actually working on those right now, and we're hoping to have those out in the next few weeks. And so, I'd ask you to visit our website. And then also, if you haven't signed up for our brochure for next year, if you want to sign up for that, we will send out an email to everybody advising that prices are now up and online, and so you'll be one of the first to know. And then somebody asked about our connection with Sons of Norway. So we actually have an ad. You might have seen it in the Sons of Norway Viking magazine. Our founding members, Arnie Brekke and Shar Brekke now, are members of Sons of Norway, and we've done some things with them in the past. And so it's just a really good group that we like to work with, also with the Daughters of Norway as well. Um, so we um, and we work with logs all around the country as well to really just build those bridges between Norway, Scandinavia, and the U.S. And if we oh, we have a few more questions coming in, so we'll try and get those answered. Make sure I didn't miss any questions. I hope we were able to answer some of your questions today about who we are and what we do. Oh, we did have a question about a lighthouse visit. Um, ugh, I don't think any of our tours for 2023 include an actual visit to a lighthouse. Obviously, we see some as we're going along the coast, but I don't believe we have any that actually go into a lighthouse or anything like that. But um, we'd be happy to help you do that if you would like. So that is not a problem. And let's see here. Oh, an extension to Greenland. Okay, so Greenland, you would need to probably first go to either Copenhagen or Iceland, and then it would have a flight into Greenland. And then, depending on how long you wanted to stay, we could book those accommodations for you. I will just, as a caveat, warn you that Greenland is quite expensive to visit, but it is definitely, I think it's worth the visit for those that are really looking for something or some place to travel outside the norm. But if you'd like us to send you some options, please just send us an email. We're happy to send you some options for Greenland on what you can see and do while you're there. Um, we had somebody asking about flying from Minneapolis to Norway. So anybody that's flying from Minneapolis to Norway on our group block of seats, so we have a group of 25 or 40 seats, depending on the size of the tour. Yes, you would all fly together. And one of the things that we like to do is give you guys annoyingly bright luggage tags. So when you get to Bergen or Oslo or wherever it is you're landing, you can find your people in the luggage check because you'll say, "Oh, look, there's a person with another Brekke tag." So that's how you can meet up with people. And then as soon as you collect your luggage and you go through customs, you'll see our guide standing out there with the Brekke Tours logo, so you'll know where to go. And so she'll kind of, or he or she will wait for everybody to kind of congregate. So it's a great time to meet others before you officially meet that night at the welcome dinner. And before we say goodbye, I'll leave you guys looking out over Flum, which is the home of Arnie Brekke, our founder. So obviously, Flum is near and dear to our hearts. But if I have missed any questions today, or if you'd like any more information, please give us a call or email us. We are happy to help you guys with any questions you may have. Oh, we did have a few more questions come in. Great. What meals are included? So breakfast is included every morning, and then sometimes lunches are included. A lot of times we leave those up to you guys to just a lot of times people don't even need lunch because they eat such a big breakfast and then they have such a big dinner that you may just want a snack. And but if we have some place that we know there's not a lot of options, then we like to include lunch and dinners as well. So and we have several dinners usually for each itinerary. The flight from Minneapolis to Norway, it is, and Joey is our air guru, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a stopover in Iceland. So from Minneapolis to Iceland, I believe it's about 6 hours. And then from Iceland to Norway, it's another four, I want to say, but I could be wrong. So Joey, if I'm wrong, will you please correct me? And then if you are flying from another part of the country, depending on your flight arrival time, you could transfer with the group. Otherwise, we can help you arrange an independent transfer, and you would just meet the group at the hotel that night for dinner because we always include dinner that first night when you arrive. So, okay, so Joey says it is about 3 hours from Iceland and Norway. So I was over an hour. Um, And then bed options. So we do have, so there are single, double, and twins. So a single room is usually smaller than a double or a twin room, and there's only one bed in it. It's perfect for one person, but it can be a little small, which in general, hotel rooms in Scandinavia are smaller than what we have here in the US. Now, a double is would be basically a king size bed. So it's two twin beds that are pushed together and to form a king bed, or it is a king bed, one of the two. It just kind of depends on the hotels. And then there's also a twin room, and a twin room is two single beds that are pushed apart. So it always reminds me of like the 50s and 60s where mom and dad slept in separate beds, but they were in the same room. So that's kind of that thing where you have two twin beds that are separated. And then, of course, we have triples as well. So if you're traveling with children, triples or a family room would be what I would recommend. And the only bad thing is that a lot of times triples are not necessarily that much larger than a twin or a double room. They just throw an extra bed in there. So if a room is already small, when you add another bed, it's even smaller. But it works for parents that are traveling with one child. If you're traveling with two children, I would recommend getting a family room, and that's something that we can help you guys with. Family rooms are usually available at the hotels, or we could get adjoining rooms depending on the age of the children. So again, it's just something that I would talk to one of us about, and I'm sorry my voice is kinda going out. I've talked too long. So, if we don't have any other questions, I know everybody's time is precious, so I don't wanna take too much of it. Again, we'll send out a recording. It might be later today or tomorrow, depending on when I can get it loaded up. But if there's any other questions that you can think of, please feel free to email us. And I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit more about Brekke Tours, and I hope that we can help you get to Scandinavia. If not next summer, then sometime in the future. Thank you so much, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.